I was reborn. I gradually distanced myself from Ryan. He, on the other hand, clearly had no intention of reconnecting. But I knew he had been reborn too. Drawing on the experiences of his previous life, he quickly rose to fame in the financial world and married a beautiful woman. For a while he was riding high, basking in all the attention. I chose to stay in this city, to remain by my parents' side. We met again 8 years later at a high school reunion. He had his arm around his college sweetheart, cigarette dangling from his lips, and looked me up and down, my outfit far from flashy. With a sneer he said, "8 years have passed, and this is how you show up to see your old classmates." Felt nothing. Until my husband arrived, lacing his fingers with mine as he smiled and said, "Sorry I'm late. I'm Jason Mitchell, Emily's husband." The cigarette slipped from Ryan's hand and dropped to the floor. He stared at me in disbelief, panic rising in his eyes. It was only then that he realized our separation was real. It hadn't been out of anger. It hadn't been pride. It was a clean break. Since high school graduation, the reunion was the first time I saw Ryan again after 8 years. I pushed open the door to the private room at the hotel, and immediately saw a group in the corner gathered around him, laughing and congratulating him. "Man, look at you. You really made it big, and with a campus queen no less. Ryan, you've made our school proud. Look at you thriving in the big city. Way more successful than us regular folks. Who could even compare to you or your boss?" Someone chimed in. "Hey, do you remember Emily? Have you two been in touch? You two used to be close back in high school." He replied casually, "Just study partners who kept each other in check, even if there was something that was years ago." I acted like I didn't hear any of it and walked calmly into the room. Even after all this time, I recognized him instantly. I took a seat off to the side, poured myself a glass of juice, and stared into the cup, completely ignoring him. The moment I walked in, everyone turned to look. The class president quickly got up, trying to ease the awkward tension. "Emily Parker, you made it. Do you still remember me? I'm Carl Jenkins, the class president. Ryan's here too." I looked up, locking eyes with Ryan. He was holding Sophia, his girlfriend. Amusement flickered in his eyes as he looked me over, and there was a trace of arrogance and disdain in his gaze. What I wore today didn't look fancy on the surface, but it was actually custom-made. No intricate designs, no bright colors, just soft, comfortable fabric. It was just a class reunion. No need to go all out. I kept my makeup minimal, nothing extravagant. But compared to Sophia, I definitely looked understated. She wore a high-end designer gown, held a crocodile leather handbag, and had full-on glamorous makeup, dressed to impress from head to toe. Still, I greeted them with composure. "Long time no see." Ryan raised his hand slightly in a half-hearted wave, clearly indifferent. Sophia smiled and gave a polite nod. Not wanting to force anything, I turned to chat with other classmates instead. Once everyone had arrived, they all took turns pouring drinks for Ryan and toasting him, showering him with praise. Right then I received a phone call. The room was too noisy, so I stepped outside. After taking the call at the end of the hallway, I turned to go back to the room and ran straight into Ryan. He reeked of alcohol, his face slightly flushed. He looked down at me with that old arrogance and said mockingly, "Emily Parker, so this is what you've become in 8 years." I remained completely unfazed, seeing the way he looked now, brought back memories from my past life. I remembered a rare moment when Ryan and I had gone for a walk by the river during a brief break in our busy schedules. We had a fierce argument that day. It all started because, back in high school, he had longed for life in a big city. So I followed him there, and we spent 10 years fighting to build a life together. We found success, built up a solid amount of savings, but the fast-paced city life was suffocating me. I wanted to go home. I'm an only child. I once brought my parents to the city to live with us, but they could never adjust to the pace. With no close friends or family around, they eventually moved back. I couldn't abandon them. They were getting older, and I wanted to be there for them. Ryan had promised that once we made 10 million, we'd go back. But when we finally hit that goal, he kept putting it off again and again. That night by the river, he finally said it outright. He wasn't going back. I couldn't hold it in anymore. You promised me, I said, furious. You said we'd go home. If you're not going, then I will. Why are you pushing me like this? He shouted back. Isn't this city better than where we came from? Don't you want a future? Don't you want our kids to have better educational resources? Our hometown can't compare. He'd even told me not long ago that if I got pregnant, we'd move back. But now he was changing his mind again. Once a child was born, it would be even harder to leave. I believed that Riverdale wasn't that bad. Sure, it wasn't as glamorous as Ocean View, but it was still a first-tier city. Not the worthless place Ryan made it out to be. Don't forget, I said, you came from Riverdale too. People shouldn't forget where they came from. I don't believe Riverdale is worse than Ocean View. The gap between them has been narrowing for years. Narrowing? He scoffed. Riverdale still can't compare. It'll take decades for it to catch up to Ocean View if it ever does. So in your mind, Riverdale will always be inferior, won't it? I said coldly. Isn't life better here? He snapped. Why would you want to go somewhere worse? I really don't understand how you think. And then he hit me with it. If I had known you were so lacking in ambition, I never would have brought you to Ocean View. For college. You were a waste of my time. I should have stayed with someone who shared my goals. Back in our sophomore year, Sophia was a freshman. She was beautiful and came from a moderately wealthy family. She had fallen for Ryan and even confessed her feelings to him. But because things were still good between us at the time, he turned her down. Whenever we had an argument, he would always bring that story up. At first, I thought it was his way of saying how much he loved me, how he had turned down someone with better prospects for me. But the more he mentioned it, the more I realized he genuinely regretted his decision. Later, because of one of our fights, we both fell into the river and died. That's when we were reborn. And the day we filled out our college applications in this life, Ryan didn't invite me to go to Ocean View with him. I chose to stay in our city instead. I had thought that in this life we'd never cross paths again. In our past life, he hadn't even shown up to the reunion. And yet this time he came. It was clear now that he'd come to see me. When I didn't respond to his taunts, he narrowed his eyes and looked me over. Look at what you're wearing. What kind of future do you expect staying in Riverdale? Look at yourself, then look at the classmates who stayed here. How many of them are really doing well? But even if you regret it now, it's too late, he added. Sophia and I are getting married. He pulled out a jewelry box, then dropped to one knee. Sophia, in front of all our classmates, I'm asking you, will you marry me? Sophia gave a shy, sweet smile and threw her arms around him. His eyes flicked toward me. I just shrugged and said, congratulations. Completely indifferent. He looked a bit stunned, staring straight at me, clearly displeased by my reaction. Maybe it was my indifferent attitude that got under his skin. But it was his own choice to move to Ocean View and chase the life he dreamed of. And the woman he wanted to marry was the one he had long yearned for. So why was he still clinging to me? Was he hoping to see me regret it? I wouldn't. I sat back down on my chair and got a call. You've landed. Yeah, almost there. If you're tired, you don't have to come. I'll head home soon. How could I let my wife spend her time off alone? I'd go through fire and water to be with you. I couldn't help but laugh, genuinely happy. I didn't say anything more and hung up. Right after that, someone walked over. Emily Parker. It was Sophia holding a glass of wine as she came up to me. I've heard your name before, she said with a smile. Let me make a toast to you. Thank you for not going to Ocean View with Ryan. If you had, I wouldn't have had a chance. She was all smiles as she spoke. Ryan said it was thanks to your pressure and motivation back then that his grades improved. So much, and that's how he got into one of the top universities in Ocean View. There's no need to thank me, I replied. We just helped each other. Still, Ryan's success today has a lot to do with you, she said, but the smile on her face was fake. She was clearly trying to show off, as if I'd lost a golden catch. To you, she said again, lifting her glass and reaching to pour wine into mine. I don't drink, I said firmly, refusing. It's just wine, it's fine, she insisted, trying to pour anyway. I stared at her coldly and didn't take the glass. She stood there awkwardly, still holding the bottle. Then Ryan came over and said, "We're all classmates, it's just a drink, no need to make a fuss." With that, he handed me the wine glass. I gave a cold smile and took it. They probably thought I had given in, but in the next second I tossed the wine straight to them. Sophia let out a sharp scream, and Ryan looked equally embarrassed, both of them scrambling to grab napkins. She kept muttering, "This was my favorite dress, this can't stain." The other classmates stared at me in shock. They all knew what kind of money those clothes were worth. Some handed over tissues, others took a step back. The other kept wiping herself off. Then she looked up at me, her expression sharp. "Emily, it was just a drink. Did you really have to do that? My dress and bag are both stained now, they're ruined. Can you even afford to pay for them?" Ryan frowned and added, "Emily, that was way out of line." "This is what you brought on yourselves," I replied calmly. "I said I don't drink. You insisted." Ryan sneered. "Are you upset because I'm marrying Sophia? Is that why you lost it?" Some classmates looked like something had just clicked. Others didn't seem convinced, and soon whispers started spreading around the room. "No way. When Ryan proposed just now, she didn't look upset at all. Maybe there's some misunderstanding." "Well, you never know, Ryan's a big deal in the business world now. Maybe she's just pretending she doesn't care, but deep down she still does." They were inseparable back in school. Every reason they split was because Ryan went off to college in Ocean View. Now that he's doing so well, maybe she regrets it. Maybe it's bitterness. I was honestly exhausted, but I still said loud enough for everyone to hear, "You all can speak up, no need to whisper. I'm not deaf, I can hear just fine. And I'll say it again. I was never in a relationship with Ryan, we were study partners, that's it. It was my choice to stay in Riverdale. I don't regret it." Sophia looked at me, clearly not believing a word I said. "Ryan told me everything," she said. "You don't have to pretend. I know you haven't gotten over him. I really do thank you for helping him with his studies back then. But that's all in the past. I sincerely hope you can let it go." I froze for a second. What on earth was this? I tilted my head and looked at her. "What gave you the idea that I'm hung up on Ryan? I haven't gone anywhere near the two of you today. Are you out of your mind? Come on, Emily, just drop the act," Sophia said with conviction. "Ryan is successful now. There's no way you don't feel at least a little regret. Do you have some kind of persecution complex?" I shot back coldly. "You think Ryan's some prize catch I should be pining over? I'll say it again, I don't regret anything. I'm very happy with my life." Ryan gave a sarcastic laugh, clearly not buying it. But what could I say? Their logic was so bizarre there was no way to reason with it. If I'd known they'd be here, I wouldn't have bothered showing up. Seeing that I didn't say anything more, Sophia said, "You ruined our clothes and bags. What are you going to do about it? Either pay for the damages or drink this wine and we'll call it even." She was so sure I couldn't afford it. "Send me the price in your bank account," I said flatly. "I'll transfer the money." Ryan looked me up and down and sneered. "You'll pay. With what? Your clothes and bags together are worth $750,000. I took a deep breath. "You might as well just apologize to us," he added smugly. I laughed, furious. Without a word, I grabbed another glass of wine from the table and poured it right over Ryan's head. The wine dripped down onto his shoulders, soaking into his shirt. The room went dead silent. "Are you insane?" he shouted. I laughed louder. "I already said I'd pay. What do you think, I can't afford it?" Ryan glared at me. "Ryan bank account now. Don't regret this," I said slowly, pronouncing each word clearly. His face darkened. "Ryan won't appreciate it," Sophia muttered. "There's no point trying to prove anything to him." But Ryan didn't hesitate anymore. He gave me the account number. I pulled out my phone and made the transfer immediately. "Done," I said. A moment later, Ryan looked at his phone and blinked in disbelief. Where did you get that kind of money? Or I could answer. The door swung open. Everyone turned to look. Jason walked in, made his way straight toward me, and wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Sorry I'm late, he said warmly. I'm Jason Mitchell, Emily's husband. He glanced at the tense scene around us. What's going on here? Carl, the class president, quickly jumped in to ease the mood. Just a small misunderstanding, he said with a chuckle, then turned to Ryan and Sophia. Hey, it's a rare chance for a reunion. Let's not blow it out of proportion. Ryan's face was dark as he looked between me and Jason. You're married? He asked stiffly. Jason smiled. We registered earlier this year. Everyone had heard of Jason Mitchell. He was a prominent figure in Riverdale. No one had expected me to be married to someone like him. No wonder I could make that transfer so casually. With Jason's arrival, the entire atmosphere shifted. The other classmates quickly gathered around us, offering toasts one after another. Jason raised his hand politely and said, My wife doesn't drink. Is she pregnant? Someone asked. Yes, 3 months, Jason replied with a warm smile. Oh, got it, came several cheerful responses. Within moments, the crowd shifted. Everyone was now sitting around us, chatting enthusiastically. Ryan and Sophia, on the other hand, were completely ignored. Sophia's face turned sour. She looked at Ryan, her eyes full of disappointment, clearly hoping he would comfort her. But Ryan wasn't even looking at her. His eyes were locked onto me, intensely, unblinking. That look was hard to ignore. I looked up and met his gaze. His eyes were red, full of fury. What exactly was he so angry about? We were each living the life we had chosen, so what did he still have to be upset about? I leaned slightly toward Jason and whispered softly. Jason followed my gaze and looked over at Ryan. He let out a light chuckle and said, Mr. Grant, is there something you're unhappy about with my wife and me? You've been staring at us for quite some time. Ryan looked away, picked up a glass of wine from the table, and downed it in one gulp without saying a word. Jason didn't press further. He simply turned back to me and quietly filled my plate, taking care of me with his usual attentiveness. Jason so knockout. Point slipped out of the room. One classmate noticed and muttered, seriously? I just left without saying a word. Guess he's been in Ocean View too long. Forgot how to treat his old classmates, someone said. Exactly. Sure, he's doing well there, but does he really need to act so superior? And the moment Jason showed up, he practically ran off with his tail between his legs. Ryan's always been full of himself about his success in Ocean View, looks down on Riverdale. But now that someone more accomplished is here, he suddenly can't handle it. After the reunion, a private car came to pick us up. Jason had had a bit to drink and was slightly tipsy. His voice took on a jealous tone as he said, I've heard of Ryan before. What was the big deal? I don't see anything special about. Why would you have ever liked him? That never happened, I said, laughing. We were just study partners. Besides, with a husband as amazing as you, how could I have ever liked someone like him? He laughed, then pulled me into his arms. Honestly, I should thank him. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have met someone as wonderful as you. That's right, we had both made our choices. He chose to chase the big city dream. Chose to stay, and I've never regretted it. If he hadn't suddenly reappeared, I might never have thought about him again. The next day, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Ryan. After graduating high school, I had deliberately cut ties with him, even changing my number. I had no idea how he'd gotten my new one. He said, Emily, let's meet. I turned him down immediately. Don't think there's anything we need to meet about. I'll be waiting at the cafe across from the school, he said, and then hung up before I could reply. He clearly assumed I would show up. But this life isn't the same as the last. When people and things that no longer matter should fade away like smoke. They have nothing to do with me anymore. So I didn't go. But fate seemed unwilling to let our paths stay apart. Ryan didn't give up on seeing me again. He started asking around for information about me. When Jason found out, he asked if I wanted him to have Ryan forced out of Riverdale. Said no need. If he wants to see me so badly, then fine, let's meet once. Otherwise, he won't let it go. It's better to get it over with for everyone's sake. So this time, I agreed to meet him at the same cafe he mentioned before. When Ryan saw me walk in, his eyes lit up with a mix of surprise and satisfaction. In his mind, my refusal to see him earlier must have meant I was still mad. He probably believed that with a little coaxing he could still win me over. I sat down across from him and got straight to the point. What do you want? What would you like to drink? Ryan asked. Just warm water, I said plainly. I noticed his expression shift slightly, but he didn't say anything. A moment later, the waiter brought over a glass of warm water for me. Then Ryan said, I can't believe you're actually with someone else. Back in school. Didn't you say you'd only ever love me for the rest of your life? People change, I said calmly. Changed. You used to say you'd turn down that girl's confession. Because of me, I continued. And now you're marrying her. Ryan's lips moved, but no words came out. Kept going. Even in our past life, I realized we weren't right for each other. It was me who kept forcing that relationship to work. We're both on our own. Now. Isn't that better? What are you trying to say? He snapped. That our marriage in the last life was a mistake. Yes, I said bluntly. It wasn't right. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had so many fights. I just want you to face reality. Ryan was clearly angry now. You know why I made the choices I did. I wanted to show you that staying in Riverdale was the wrong decision. If you just admit you were wrong and came to me, I'd let it. Oh, I'd still marry you. I rolled my eyes. I didn't even know what to say anymore. Looking at him, I genuinely couldn't understand what was going on in his head. You're about to get married, I said. How can you still say things like this? Because I want you to admit you were wrong, he snapped. I wasn't wrong. Everything I did was right. I just want you to understand, choosing Ocean View was the right choice. Not Riverdale. Then Ryan suddenly smiled. If this is about Sophia, if you're jealous, don't worry. I'll break up with her. I was so stunned I couldn't even respond. He kept going. Jason Mitchell might be impressive, but so what? Without his family background, he'd be nothing in Riverdale. I built everything on my own. I'm not like him. He just kept rambling while I quietly sipped my warm water and watched him unravel. Stayed silent, and finally he noticed. He looked annoyed. Why aren't you saying anything? With you talking non-stop, what's left for me to say? Everything you're saying is your own opinion, not mine. Emily, stop with the sarcasm. Am I wrong about any of this? Sure, you're right, I said flatly. But what does that have to do with me? Go find someone who agrees with you. Why drag me into it? Ryan's face lit up when I first said, you're right, but darkened immediately after the rest of my sentence. Kept going. Being ambition is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with choosing to build a life in Ocean View. I'm not denying your hard work, your efforts, but Ryan, people are individuals. You have your choices and I have mine. There's no absolute right or wrong. You don't get to judge or criticize other people's lives just because they're different from yours. So focus on your own path and stop trying to force your blueprint onto someone else. The life I want is one where I can stay close to my parents. I hadn't even finished when he suddenly cut me off. Emily, you really don't get it, do you? So that's what he really wanted. He wanted me to bow my head and admit he was right. His mind, whatever he believed was the ultimate truth, and no one could challenge it. A waste of a meeting. I had no more words. I just stayed quiet. Then Ryan suddenly asked, Emily, I didn't go looking for you before, and you never came to find me. Are you really not coming with me? I froze, completely confused. Seeing the look on my face, he sighed. I've been angry all these years, but fine. I'll admit defeat. Come with me now and we'll pretend none of this ever happened. As for the baby, just get rid of it. I stared at him, speechless. I thought he came today to flaunt how well his life in Ocean View had turned out to make me regret everything. I never imagined he still thought like this. How did I ever fall for someone this arrogant and delusional in my past life? There was no going back between Ryan and me. Ryan, are you out of your mind? I couldn't help raising my voice. His face twisted with embarrassment and frustration. I'm married, I said firmly. I have a husband who loves me, a child on the way, and my parents by my side. My life is happy and full. What makes you think I'd throw all of that away to run off with you? And besides, don't you have a fiancé? You really are unbelievable. Ryan's face flushed green, then pale. He tried to argue. I don't believe you've really let go of all those years we had. You can't possibly have forgotten me. In our last life, I didn't go back to Riverdale with you. Was that really such a deal breaker? Fine, I'll quit my job in Ocean View and stay here with you. Will that make you happy? I didn't respond. I simply took the glass of water I hadn't finished and splashed it right in his face. You've got some nerve, I said coldly. Have my own life. What we had is over. The moment we were reborn, we both made our choices. I wasn't willing to compromise for you, and you weren't willing to give up your big city dreams. You had your ambitions, and that's fine. But we should have left each other in peace. If you came here just to convince me to leave with you, then I'm sorry. There's nothing left to say. With that, I stood up and turned to leave. Millie. Ryan tried to grab my arm, but Jason arrived just in time. He stepped in, pulling Ryan's hand off me in one swift, clean motion. I had told Jason in advance that I would be meeting with Ryan. I turned to look at Ryan, who now wore a pleading expression. I admitted I was wrong. He said, "What more do you want from me?" He stared at me like he couldn't understand. Jason was about to say something, but I tugged on his sleeve and looked Ryan square in the eye. I don't want anything. You're staying away from me. That's what I want. I've already let you go. It's time you did the same. And with that, I said no more. Jason and I left together. I thought that would be the end of it, that I had been clear enough, that things had already gone far beyond decency. I thought there would be no further contact. And even if we ran into each other again, we'd be nothing but strangers. I blocked him on everything. But I didn't expect that. Just a week later, I'd receive another message. Emily, I've left Ocean View. I'm staying in Riverdale for good. I won't leave again. I was busy. I didn't even know what he meant by that. I want to see you. I blocked him again. Pretended the message had never existed. But after work that evening, Ryan was waiting at the front of my office building, standing there holding a bouquet of roses. There was nowhere for me to hide. I was immediately annoyed. I had already said everything the last time. I frowned. Told you clearly. You always said you wanted to come back to Riverdale. I never cared about that before. But I'm here now, and I'm staying for good, he said, full of certainty. That's your choice. It has nothing to do with me, I said, walking past him. He reached out and grabbed my hand. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? We already made our choices, I said firmly. Back then we both let go. I never let you go, Ryan interrupted, desperate. Have a career now. Came back. Can give you everything Jason can. This isn't about comparing, I said. I'm happy with my life. Oh, please stop bothering me. You love me, he insisted. You only chose Jason because I left you. But I'm back now. You should be with me. You shouldn't deny what you really feel. Back then I did love him deeply. But no matter how intense the love once was over, time it wears down day after day, little by little, until it's gone. Ryan, feelings aren't some eternal, unchanging thing. Love fades. I looked straight at him. His eyes were rimmed red with moisture. Maybe he hadn't truly believed that I was really done with him. In our previous life, I agreed to stay in Ocean View and support your career. But you also promised me you wouldn't stay there forever, that we'd return to Riverdale. And yet in the end, you told me you wouldn't go back. I never interfered with your ambitions or your dreams. I supported you all the way. But once you got to Ocean View, you chose to stay for good. So why did you lie to me back then? Why did you promise we'd go back? Ryan rushed to defend himself. I was afraid you wouldn't stay if I told you the truth. I really did love you. I didn't want to lose you. But in this life, I said. Quietly, you never even considered waiting for me or asking me to join you. You still chose Ocean View without hesitation. Doesn't that say everything? Ryan was speechless, clearly in pain. I thought we had this silent understanding. That we didn't need words. I never imagined you'd actually choose someone else. No, I said firmly. You're not here because you love me. You're here because I found someone better, and you couldn't handle that. You proposed to Sophia in front of all our old classmates. And now you're here begging me to take you back. How do you think she'd feel? You're not trying to win me back because you love me. You just want to see me yield. You're panicking because you've lost control. And now you're regretting it. You want everything. Can't lose, can't let go. You want it both ways. I'm sorry, Ryan suddenly said. He pulled out a ring and dropped to one knee. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Just give me another chance, Emily. Let's start over. This time I'll do whatever you say. I shook my head and refused coldly. There are no more chances. But Emily, I gave up Ocean View for you, he pleaded. That was your choice, I said flatly. Has nothing to do with me. I told you already. I don't look back and I won't look back. I said it calmly with complete indifference. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I just didn't care. I knew Ryan's motives were pure. I felt nothing but weariness. No other emotions remained. Jason had come to pick me up. He stood a short distance away, leaning casually against the doorway, watching me silently. He waited for me. He respected me. He supported every decision I made. He trusted me. His kindness was something Ryan could never match. I smiled and walked toward Jason. I could feel Ryan's intense gaze behind me. But I didn't look back. I got in the car and left. Ryan stood there like a ghost, lost and broken. I later resigned from my job and opened my own studio. When our son was born, we hadn't had a wedding yet because of the pregnancy. But 3 months later, Jason and I held our wedding. We invited classmates and colleagues to celebrate with us. Of course, Ryan was not among them. Later, some classmates said that Ryan didn't stay in Riverdale long. He left again and broke up with Sophia. She didn't take it well and made a huge scene. It even made the local news. All the classmates were shocked and buzzing about it. But none of that had anything to do with me. I simply smiled and moved on, and from then on, our paths truly diverged, each of us going our separate ways. Thank you for your time, and that's the end of my story. Subscribe to not miss more videos like this. And remember, history is a chance to become a better person, and see you soon.